So your smartphone is actually one of the best cameras that you can start using to record YouTube videos, but most people are using the wrong camera settings. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact smartphone camera settings you should use for YouTube, whether you're on Android or iPhone. Now let's start first and foremost with the core camera settings, and these things are kind of non-negotiable. You want to make sure you lock in these things before you worry about anything else. And the first setting is resolution. So you want to be shooting, if at all possible, in 4K resolution over 1080p. And why 4K is so important is that YouTube actually prioritizes 4K uploads, and you actually get 4 times the resolution count over 1080p resolution. So you're going to get way more pixels to work with. Your overall image is going to look better and look sharper. So if at all possible, shoot in 4K. If your phone doesn't have a 4K option, then of course you can shoot in 1080p, or if you're super limited on storage, that's really the only other time we'd recommend you shoot in 1080p. And if you can help it, just choose 4K. The next setting would be your frame rate, and these are the amount of video frames that your camera is recording every single second. Some typical frame rates are things like 24 or 30 or 60 frames per second. And for YouTube videos, like talking head style videos like this one, you want to either choose 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. We like 24 for more like YouTube style talking head videos like this. And if you're making more vertical social first content for like YouTube Shorts or Instagram or TikTok, then you could choose 30 frames per second because most of those vertical platforms are optimized for 30 FPS. The only time you want to go higher than these settings, up to like 60 frames per second or 120, is if you know you want to slow that footage down in post-production. So these higher frame rates are great because they shoot a bunch of frames that you can then use to slow down footage to make footage longer and slow-mo and cinematic. So that's when you choose higher frame rates. Otherwise, you want to stick to 24 or 30 frames per second. Now, what lens should you choose to record with? You might have a camera that has multiple lenses on the back, or maybe just one, and you also have a front-facing selfie camera, so there's all of these different lenses to choose from. Ideally, if you can, you could record with the main camera on the rear of the phone. Typically, this will get you the best image quality, and most smartphones have a specific camera that gets you the best image results, so probably use that camera if you can help it. Nowadays, though, a lot of those front-facing selfie cameras look really good, so if you prefer to be able to view yourself while you're recording, it's totally okay to use that front-facing camera. Typically, if your phone has an ultra-wide angle camera or a telephoto zoom camera, those are going to be lower quality than the main camera or even a lot of times the front-facing camera on your phone. So if you're doing talking head style videos like this one, try to use that main camera or even the front-facing selfie cam. Something you should not do though is use digital zoom. So don't pinch and zoom in your camera frame to make your composition different. Ideally, you can actually just put that on a little smartphone tripod and then move your smartphone closer or further away from you depending on how you want to compose that shot. The next couple settings you'll want to turn on are first your level and then your grid lines. So your level is able to give you a nice straight horizon to make sure that your camera is actually level and you don't have a super awkwardly tilted, canted angle. And then what you'd have to do is like zoom in a little bit and then kind of straighten that image, and you'll lose some of the edges of your frame when you do that. So you want to try to get your level correct in camera. And then additionally, the grid lines are going to give you some horizontal and vertical guidelines on your image so you can make sure you compose your shot properly. And ideally, you actually want your eye line to be on that top third line, not actually directly in the center. Like if I was in the middle of the shot right now, it'd be right here and it's super awkwardly composed. You actually want to kind of be on this top third of the line, and that's proper composition for a talking head style video. Now, the next thing you want to adjust is your HDR mode setting. And actually out of the box, most smartphones have this setting turned on. And what we find actually at Think Media is that we prefer you to turn this off because you'll get more consistency between files. And when you try to like edit HDR footage, depending on what editing software you have, if you're editing on your smartphone or you bring this into a computer and edit in iMovie or DaVinci Resolve or Adobe Premiere, all of these programs handle HDR footage separately. And then when you view HDR footage on YouTube versus Instagram or social platforms, it all is different. So ideally, you can actually just turn HDR off and it's going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to edit your footage. Now, the next setting has to do with white balance. So this is getting your camera to visually look proper in terms of what is actually truly white in your scene. So sometimes you white balance off of the lighting that you're using, or you can be outside and have natural light. In any case, there's actually a setting called lock white balance that you can turn on in your camera settings. And what that will do is the moment you hit record on your smartphone. It will sense the white balance that's in your frame right at the beginning, and then it will lock that white balance to a particular shot so that if your lighting changes at all, like if a sun starts coming in or if more of your shirt gets into the frame and changes your white balance, it's not going to adjust all those settings and make your coloring inconsistent. So this is a great way to get consistent color throughout your video recordings if you're doing talking head style videos. Now, if you're vlogging and you're moving between scenes and cloudy environments and sunny, you might want to keep this turned off. But for a lot of people who are doing talking head style videos, you do want to turn lock white balance on. And one additional setting here would be exposure or focus lock. So what this will do is as you click and tap and hold your screen, it will actually lock the positioning of exposure and the focus on that exact position. So your focus won't be hunting all over the place, trying to like move all around, and your exposure won't shift depending on what happens in your frame. And this can be really great to really control the lighting of your scene. Now, you don't always want to do this, but if you are in a more controlled studio sort of environment, it's great to go ahead and click and hold the screen to lock your exposure and your focus. Now, before our next setting, if you really are looking to grow on YouTube this year, you've got to check out our YouTube growth sprint happening very soon. This is an awesome 3-day challenge that includes a bunch of giveaways. If you want some like cool tech or microphones or even cameras, we're giving away a ton of free tech, but also a lot of great information to teach you how to grow this year and succeed on YouTube. You'll get some awesome coaching from our CEO, Sean Cannell, as well as some of our other Think Media coaches. And overall, it's a fantastic event. If you're interested in signing up, you can go to ytsprint.com or click the link down in the description. Now that we've covered basic settings, the next thing you want to make sure you get dialed in is your audio, because bad audio really does kill a good video. You can kind of help if somebody shot in completely automatic video settings, but if their audio is really poor, it's really hard to forgive that as a viewer. So we want to make sure you get your audio dialed in. The most basic improvement that you can make is just get yourself as close to your smartphone if you can, if you don't have an external microphone that you're using. The further you are away from your camera, the worse that audio is going to sound if you're relying on your built-in microphones. So get as close to your smartphone as you possibly can. There are some really affordable microphones that you can use for recording YouTube videos. One of the most basic options is the Hollyland Lark A1. We recommend this microphone all of the time, and it's a really easy, budget-friendly beginner microphone that just plugs right into your smartphone and gives you wireless audio. Now for this video, I'm using a podcast microphone that you can also use with your smartphone. This is the Fifine AM8, and it's like a $60 podcast microphone, and it even comes with a little boom arm. This is a fantastic beginner option that actually works with your smartphone. Whether you go with a wireless solution or a shotgun style microphone or a podcast microphone, all of these are dependent on what kind of content you create. But just know this, that purchasing a microphone will be one of the biggest tech improvements that you can do to your YouTube setup. Even over buying a super nice camera or lens, your microphone really should be the first thing that you upgrade. Now, a few things you want to think about specifically when it comes to uploading videos to YouTube would be, first and foremost, make sure that you are obviously recording in horizontal framing. Some people do make the mistake of recording vertically with their first couple YouTube videos, and then they're like trying to reframe the video, or they then have to upload the video to YouTube Shorts when their intention was for it to be like a horizontal YouTube upload. So make sure that you actually record horizontally for your first YouTube video, unless you are specifically making YouTube Shorts. You also want to think about framing for thumbnails and cropping and lower thirds. So give yourself a little bit of extra headroom than you normally would. And then you can always crop in like 1 to 2% if you want a little bit of a tighter shot. But giving you some extra space will help you when it comes time to making thumbnails or adding different graphics to your frame. Now, speaking of thumbnails, it's really smart to take some thumbnail poses while you're actually recording your YouTube video. And I know this might feel kind of weird, but like literally when I'm recording YouTube videos, one of the first things I'll do is I'll hit record and then I'll sit down and just give a bunch of weird poses. I'll like sit there and be like, and yeah, you'll feel super silly when you do this, but it will really save you a lot of time if you are trying to build your thumbnail, and you can use the exact scene that you recorded your talking head A-roll in to use as a starting point. For the sake of editing too, it's actually a lot easier to record in one continuous take. So leave all of your mistakes in. Like even recording this video, I've made several mistakes, and what I'll do is just go back and re-record a couple lines or two. But having that one video file to work with is so much easier than trying to piece together 7 or 12 different video files. Just leave it one take. That'll save you a lot of time when when editing. Now, there are a few more advanced or pro settings that you could think about if you feel like you have a pretty good grasp on your phone already. If you want to unlock some more advanced features, here are some things that you could consider doing. First is looking at some pro applications that you could use for your smartphone to unlock more capabilities. For example, there's an app called the Blackmagic Camera App, and iPhone users will love this app because it unlocks a lot of the potential out of their iPhone to shoot in manual video control. So that's one of the first things you can do with an app like this. You can manually adjust your ISO, so keeping your noise really low. And ISO is responsible for those grainy images and lower light situations, so you can control the ISO setting of your camera when you use an app like the Blackmagic Camera App. Additionally, you can adjust your shutter speed, which should be double whatever the frame rate is you're shooting. So if you were shooting 24 frames per second, around 1/50 is what you'd want to set your shutter speed to, and you can do this in the Blackmagic Camera App. And I'm just scratching the surface of what this app can do, but it really does unlock a ton of potential for your smartphone. Additionally, you can see if your phone records in the log format or in a different codec like ProRes, and this gets you way higher quality files to work with for both color grading in post-production and even just getting less compressed video footage to work with. So professional videographers and content creators are already kind of familiar with this log shooting workflow, and it really does make your smartphone look more like a professional camera if you know how to color grade and work with this kind of footage. A lot of times though, file sizes are ginormous when you shoot with these kinds of settings. Now this is where you can see if your smartphone supports recording to external devices like SSD drives or micro SD cards or even regular SD cards with adapters. And why this is so beneficial is instead of taking up a bunch of memory on your smartphone, you can move those files to an external device, which saves you a lot of internal storage, but also allows you to move those files around a lot easier and even maybe plug a hard drive directly into a computer to start editing your files right away. So as you get more comfortable with your smartphone and are able to tap into some of their more advanced features, these things can honestly be like a full-on professional camera. You just kind of got to know where to look for the settings, which ones to adjust, and how to maximize the potential out of your smartphone. Now, if you need more help with the actual recording process of your videos, you can click or tap the screen right here to watch a full-on step-by-step guide to recording your first YouTube video on your phone. It's a super helpful video you can check out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.